Joining me now, Mayor of Norfolk and the co-chair of the Bloomberg for President campaign in Virginia, Mayor Kenny Alexander. Mayor, great to have you back, sir.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
Before we get to the Bloomberg campaign and everything that's going on in Virginia, let's talk a little bit about your city in Norfolk. First of all, things are going economically there. You've had a tremendous run as mayor. Business is up. Every indicator in Norfolk has been positive. What has been behind your success?
Well, John, we inherited momentum from Mayor Frame and the previous council and the previous administration. We have a great council. We have a great team, Team Norfolk. We are pro-business. We're open our doors every day, ready to do business, retaining businesses, growing businesses, scaling businesses, and that's important. When you are a business-friendly city, you work closely with the port and closely with Naval Station Norfolk, very close with our universities. Norfolk is the epicenter, is the hub of our region. Although close to 45% of our economy is tied to national defense, it doesn't hurt Norfolk to have the largest naval base in the world. But more importantly, we are diversifying our economy. We're growing our economy in healthcare, in data, in fiber, in finances, and also the arts, hospitality, tourism, and leisure. So we're hitting it on all cylinders. We're not letting up. We're just beginning.
You've had tremendous success there, without a doubt. Let's get to Amtrak for a second.
Yes.
You've so far got 2 Amtrak trains daily going to Washington, D.C. I've ridden them. One's at, I think, 6, one's at 9, and now you're adding another one, I think, in the afternoon. Is that coming
That's correct.
soon?
Yes, sir. Norfolk is the most multimodal city in Virginia, and let me just break that down real quickly. There's no other city in Virginia with Amtrak, light rail, cruise terminal, airport, a port, a ferry system, bus, as well as pedestrian trails and walking trails. We're the most multimodal city in Virginia, and we're very proud of that. We've added air travel at our airport. We have new carriers, and we're going to other destinations. The Amtrak, again, adding more service there. We're announced this week a 5-year deal with Carnival Cruise Line. They'll be selling larger vessels out of Norfolk, right here out of Norfolk. So Norfolk, as it relates to travel and then taking transportation to the next level, we're certainly making that critical investment in that infrastructure.
Getting the third, I think, train in the afternoon to Washington is going to make a difference. I know also the governor has put money into the budget and gotten federal money for expanding the Amtrak bridge that goes over the Potomac, which is basically the holdup when we get behind the freight trains and things like that. One thing, though, I've had a lot of people over the last 2 years email or text me that go to D.C. in the morning that were upset that Mayor Frame moved the Amtrak from 5 to 6, because when it left at 5 a.m., you could get to D.C. by 9. Now you get there at 10, and a lot of people have meetings earlier, and so it ceases to be an option for them. Why don't you think about getting that back to 5 a.m.?
We'll take it into consideration. Certainly, we want to be nimble. We want to respond to the market. Certainly, we want to have that service that is optimal, the optimal service, so that those persons who are need to be in Washington or in Boston, we get them the services that they need to get in time.
You get there earlier. And when I talked to Mayor Frame, when he changed it, there was only 1 train a day. And so they changed it because the leisure travelers obviously didn't want to get up at 4 a.m. and get there at 5. But now that you've got one at 9, the one at 6 makes no sense. If you backed it up to 5, then people going to D.C. on business or going to New York, that hour really makes a big difference. And it's the difference between driving to get to a meeting at 9:30 and taking and taking Amtrak. So I hope you guys will take a hard look at that.
Right, exactly.
Mayor Kenny Alexander with us, Mayor of Norfolk, Virginia. Mayor, let's get to the Bloomberg campaign in Virginia. Why did you agree to co-chair the Bloomberg campaign?
Yes, if you look at the Democratic candidates that are vying for the nomination, Michael Bloomberg has a complete resume, a complete CV that aligns with my city as it relates to how we are looking at climate policy, how he has led New York in reducing violence, inner city violence, gun violence. If you look at Hampton Roads, although we've made some tremendous strides in reducing gun violence here in the city, but we've had too many shootings, and we are certainly putting resources and prevention measures in place. But the mayor, Bloomberg, certainly through his gun reform policies in New York, was able to reduce gun violence. As it relates to women's health, I mean, he certainly is a strong advocate for women's health and a woman having the right over her body. Also, as it relates to his personal story as a businessman, creating jobs, good paying jobs, and his philanthropy, giving to HBCUs and other causes that help strengthen and build the middle class. And lastly, I would say that the mayor has been, a proven leader on the global scene. His investments, his companies, well suited, well positioned to continue to build America's reputation and America's being a superpower in the world. Those relationships with foreign countries and foreign leaders. I'm just happy that he decided to offer himself to be president of the United States. But first, he needs to win the nomination. I'm here to help him win the nomination.
How do you win? Because right now Bernie Sanders is surging. It looks like Sanders is probably going to win South Carolina. If he does, that's a disaster for the Bloomberg campaign because they need the battle to go on. Biden's going to be out, but he's still around on Super Tuesday. It's only 3 days after that. So I think you're going to win Virginia. I predicted that. But you're not ahead in any other state. And there's some states you guys might not even get to the 15%. So how do you get to 1910?
Yeah, I think the mayor has a strategy. His team has a strategy. He is committing his personal resources to tell his story. He's putting people on the ground. He has open offices, across the country. He is committed. He's dedicated. We just need to continue to tell the story and let people, the voters, look at who is best positioned to be president of the United States. Also, I think that as relates to something that's very critical, who is best to help to win the Senate of America? There are 10 contested or highly contested Senate seats that are in play. Right. There's only one person that's vying for the Democratic nomination that has the resources, who has the ground game, the commitment, the capital to help pick up 3 or 4 seats. So, John, this is really about who will control the U.S. Senate. What candidate? Let's be real. Let's be real. Which of the candidates that you mentioned previously can help turn or flip the Senate?
Well, not Bernie Sanders. He'll lose seats.
That's correct.
Joe Biden isn't going to be the nominee, so that's like ridiculous. He's not even going to win South Carolina, which was his firewall. So basically, it's Bloomberg or Sanders, as far as I'm concerned, or maybe Warren if they're both short and they cut a deal and make her. But you're right. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Bloomberg at the top of the ticket, poses the biggest threat to McConnell. No question about it.
That is correct. And if you look at Colorado, if you look at Arizona, Hillary Clinton, she won Colorado, she won Maine, but you have Susan Collins in Maine, you have Cory Gardner in Colorado, and then you have some other. So if Bloomberg is at the top of the ticket, and Bloomberg and his running mate flip the Senate, we only have to pick up 3 Senate seats. Mm-hmm. If Bloomberg is not at the ticket and we don't win the presidency, we have to pick up 4 Senate seats to flip.
Right.
So it's just, for me, it's just, as a person who studied politics, who's been in this for.
Look, I get it. I mean, you're a moderate Democrat basically, and right now your choices are. I mean, Joe Biden is not going to be the nominee. So let's just get the stark reality: it's Bernie Sanders or Bloomberg. I mean, it's a simple binary choice. Pete's not going to win. Klobuchar's out after Super Tuesday. Hillary Clinton, your buddy, is not going to parachute in. So it basically comes down to 2 people in my judgment, and people are going to have to make a decision. That's why I think he's going to win Virginia. Let's get to sanctuary cities and the Second Amendment.
Yes.
I'm getting a bunch of texts right now, people upset that you will not allow, I guess, the sanctuary cities amendment to be heard in city council. People have tried to put VCDL or others have tried to put tents up to register voters. You guys have tossed them off the grounds. What is up with that?
Well, first of all, that's not true. Every person who wishes to address my council, we allow every person who registers to speak, regardless of their residence, and we give every person 3 minutes to come to the public square to advocate for their issue, their concern, and without interruption, unless something offensive or something demeaning or there's a threat. Certainly, we won't tolerate that. But we allow people to come to speak to the council about their issue. So that's that, and we have never thrown anyone off of the premises when they come to address the council on any given Tuesday that we have our public meetings. So that's not true. As it relates to the petitions that we've heard, we have delivered every petition that we have received advocating for a Second Amendment sanctuary city. We have, with a letter, we have hand-delivered those petitions with a communication to the governor, the lieutenant governor, the Speaker of the House, as well as the majority leader in Richmond, to share with the persons who are making the decisions in Richmond the concerns of the people here in Hampton Roads and others who have come to speak. So we have been very open, very transparent, and we have listened to everything that's been said concerning sanctuary cities.
One of my callers is saying, well, why doesn't Mayor Alexander put it on the agenda?
If my city attorney tells me that what I'm putting in front of my agenda is constitutional, I will put it on my agenda. I do not schedule anything that is not cleared by 3 individuals. One, the city attorney, who let me know, advised me, things that I'm putting before my council are legal, constitutional. Number 2, my city manager will tell me whether or not things I put on my docket I actually can implement and enforce. And 3, I ask the city clerk to make sure that what I'm putting on the agenda is not in conflict with previous ordinance or previous resolution, and if so, we need to repeal before we pass. If that happens, then it will be scheduled. So if there's a measure that is constitutional and legal, it will get a thumbs up from the city attorney. If it can be enforced and implemented, it will get a thumbs up from the city manager. And if something needs to be repealed, or if it's in conflict, and that's satisfied, then it gets a thumbs up from the clerk. And then, and only then, it will be scheduled.
Okay, well, look, I respect and appreciate Mayor Kenny Alexander the way you laid that out. And if anybody's got a question for that, you can contact the mayor's office. I think he was pretty clear in his position. Other people have different positions, but Kenny Alexander's the mayor, and he just laid everything out for you. We're with Mayor Alexander, mayor of Norfolk, Virginia. Mayor, let's get to Governor 2021. As you know, I've been a fan of you running for governor. Right now on the Democratic side, Terry McAuliffe is going to run. Justin Fairfax is already announced he's going to run. Mark Herring is going to run. We expect Jennifer McClellan to get in the race. Also Carolyn Foy. That's 5 Democrats right off the bat that are going to run for governor. Some people think Terry McAuliffe, who I thought was a great governor, his time has passed. Where does Mayor Kenny Alexander fit in to the governor's race 2021?
I'm the mayor of Norfolk. I'm seeking re-election as mayor of Norfolk. I'm having a great time, and if the people of Norfolk will have me to be their mayor, certainly I'm standing for office for re-election, and let's get through that, and we'll be watching and monitoring, assessing what's happening in Richmond. Certainly, we are concerned about the Commonwealth. We're concerned about growing the Commonwealth. We are concerned about being a leader in the southeastern United States, Virginia, leading. We are concerned about the cost of education. We are concerned certainly about some of the policies that have been introduced, how those policies will affect cities around Virginia. So we are concerned about climate change, and we're addressing recurring flooding. We are also concerned about jobs. As it relates to Hampton Roads, only just last year recovered all the jobs that were lost during the Great Recession. Northern Virginia recovered their jobs much faster. Richmond recovered their jobs right after Northern Virginia, but it took us a while here in Hampton Roads to recover the jobs that were lost. I am concerned about Hampton Roads. I'm concerned about our region not getting a fair share, and so we need fighters. We need people to fight for our area, but also solidify Virginia as a place to do business, and a place where a person can have an idea, a concept, and that idea, concept can be birthed, and that can be scaled, and they can take off right here in Virginia. Virginia has led from the very beginning, and I think Virginia will continue to lead. But I want to make sure that we get good people serving us in Richmond as well.
So, Mayor Kenny Alexander, are you considering a run for the Democratic nomination for governor 2021?
I am only considering running for mayor of Norfolk and getting reelected and serving the fine people of Norfolk, both corporate citizens, certainly our residents, and just being the best mayor that I possibly can be. We'll continue to.
Are you ruling out a run for governor?
I have not even given it any consideration, John. Again, it's not something that's immediate in front of me.
Yeah, well, you'd be the only candidate that actually runs a business.
Well, listen,
I mean, don't you think there's room for somebody in the race for the Democratic nomination for governor that runs a business that actually employs people, creates jobs, signs the front of paychecks, builds a company along with your public services mayor? Isn't there room for somebody that actually runs a business someplace in the Democratic establishment?
No question about it. Certainly in Norfolk, family, been in business for 50-some years, but more importantly, 20 years in public service, House of Delegates in Senator Virginia, last 4 years as mayor. But look at the things that we've done here. We've posted a AAA bond rating for the first time in Norfolk's history. Norfolk now, today, has a AAA bond rating. There are only 16 localities in Virginia with a AAA bond rating. We're one of the most fiscally stressed cities. We carry a lot of the region's public housing. We carry a lot and offer a lot of the social services in the region, but we're able to post a AAA bond rating the first time in Virginia's history.
That's because you run a business, Mayor. The reason you got the bond rating is because you understand how to run a business, right? You got all these candidates. They've never run a business. They've never employed anybody. They've never signed in front of a paycheck. They've never made payroll tax. They've never dealt with the regulations. They've never dealt with any of this stuff. They've never run a business. You've run a family business for 2 generations. That's why you got a AAA bond rating, because you get it. That's why I think you should run for governor as somebody that ran a business.
John, we call balls and strikes.
Does that make sense?
It makes look, John.
Of course, that makes sense. It always makes sense.
I'm not arguing against you. I mean, I think you make a great argument.
I want somebody that runs a business running for the Democratic nomination. That's my life's goal. Just run a business. Bloomberg runs a business. That's why he's going to win Virginia. Business people win Virginia. Ralph Northam, the governor, as many problems as I have with the guy, I don't like him anymore. He ran a business. That's why he was able to win the lieutenant governor's race and win the governor's nomination over Perriello, who never ran a business. I'm just giving you the facts, Mayor. These are just facts. I'm not making this stuff up. These are just numbers. You run a business in Virginia, you win a Democratic primary. It's been proven over and over and over. I'm just saying.
John, you're very kind, and I always value your your friendship, your family, and you've just always been kind, and certainly appreciate those warm comments.
Because you're a great guy. Thanks for being with us, Mayor Kenny Alexander. I got one request. Look, I don't really care what happens with light rail. I'm not involved in it. Move Amtrak back to 5 a.m., and you're going to pick up so many business travelers who went on it when it was at 5 that abandoned it because it went to 6:10. You go back to 5, you're going to pick a whole new passenger thing up.
That's a train I normally take when I was taking Amtrak gets to 5, and that certainly put me in Washington time enough to have early meetings and then get over to the Capitol, to the White House, to the Pentagon. So I agree 100%.
All right, Kenny Alexander, Mayor of Norfolk, running for re-election, co-chair of the Bloomberg for Virginia campaign. We're predicting Bloomberg is going to win Virginia on Super Tuesday, and we're encouraging him to run for governor because he runs a business. What a novel concept. Mr. Mayor, thanks for being with us. John Fredericks Radio Network. Always a pleasure to have you on, sir.